Alright, hello again everybody, we are back. It is your friend Will. This is the Memory Lapse. And we are jumping into what may be the last of the Learning to Play Jeskai videos. Or maybe we'll do like a recap video after this, but either way, win or lose, this will be the last game of our run in competitive constructed with it. Had a really nice 4-win streak going. Some super close games. Some games against some off-meta decks that you would think might have some advantages. Like, I don't know, like it feels like if you're going to play Grixis Dragons and have Nicol Bolas, like that actually seems like a really good card against a deck like this. So I don't know. Feels good to just win those matches. And this feels like a good hand to keep. If they're on some kind of like white weenie deck, this is a great hand. We just get to sweep their board and then turn the corner, hopefully, with Drake. Have not seen that much white weenie at all in the competitive constructed since it won the Pro Tour. And I imagine it's much more prevalent in best of one right now. Alright, so we'll lead with the Clifftop Retreat. Then we can follow with Island Sulphur Falls. And we'll make a decision next turn about whether or not we're going to opt. Oh, looks like they are on blue-black. So this could be kind of like blue-black tempo. Fifth land. Yeah, I guess we do want this because it gives us our second white source. So our hand has some banana cards in it right now, which is fine. Like if they play Disinformation Campaign. I guess we're going to assume that maybe the way that they're playing, that they're on, Maybe something like Esper Control that just hasn't found a white source yet. Or they're playing, I mean, this guild gate makes me think they're playing some of that like hexproof 3/3 flyer, so maybe our Clarion's going to be fine. Alright, well, let's attempt to draw 2 here. We got the big guy himself, Niv Mizzet. I guess the question is, I don't think we go for Teferi into this mana. Do we go for Drake? Or do we just sit? Maybe we just sit and we Chemisters and set away this Clarion and just try to keep hitting land drops. That could be really good. Alright, so they're on Grixis again. We've been playing a lot of Grixis in this run. Alright, we need to find a land drop. Jeez. Sucks to push that, but we need to find a land drop. I think we'll just shock this too. I shock that there so that we have negate plus potentially a syncopate for 2, and I think based on the pace of the game, the 2 life is not going to matter. I guess we'll just go for Crackling Drake here. Resolves, wow. So they have no counter spells in hand. They probably just have a grip of removal then. Like Soots and Moment of Cravings and stuff, which they might throw some out here. No, damn. Not finding these land drops is really brutal. And I don't want to opt there because I want to have like negate or syncopate for something they might play on their turn. That would be devastating. Just want to make sure that we're going to find land here. Obviously, the preference would have been to hold this until Niv was in play. But we're not going to put Niv into play without negate backup. Alright, let's just run Crackling Drake back out. Looks like they still don't have a counter. But if they want to use a Vraska's Contempt on it, then that's just answers they don't have for Teferi or to Mizzet, which is fine. Yep. Yeah, so it looks like they are on the all removal plan. Oh, I think next turn we're going to get Teferi down then. Especially since they're -2 contempts. Thought erasure. Well, no, we can't do both, huh? I guess we just negate this. Protect our hand. They probably just drew it, because I imagine they would have played this at any point. My other thought was to expansion it. If I had more mana, it would have been sick to expansion it, see what we can take, and then decide if we want to negate it or not. Looks like they might have a counter here. Alright, so then negate back. They get their pick. Wow, that's the one they went for. I don't know, I might have been inclined to take the other one. To take either of these win conditions here. Alright, well if they have Vraska's Contempt, we can syncopate it here. And they probably have 2 more. A deck like this, I wouldn't be surprised to see them running 4. Thought erasure again. 4. Alright, I guess we let them take Niv Mizzet here. And hold these syncopates to protect Teferi. They're down to 2 cards. Oh, they're just scooping. Alright, well we get to bring in Negate. Spell Pierce might be okay. We know they were taking Clarion out. Essence Scatter did not seem good. They're likely bringing in some of those Drakes. Some of those, like, 2/2 flyers. So maybe we can keep in an Essence Scatter. Or maybe we keep in a Justice Strike. I kind of like bringing in the War Boss. Maybe it's just better to overload like this. Niv Mizzet could be very good. They only have so many Vraska's Contempts. And so it's really between the War Boss coming in Or, you know, maybe we bring the War Boss in if we lose this game, and we bring it in on the play. And let's just go 2 Justice Strikes, 1 Essence Scatter. Let's try that. And we would take those out on the play and just try to jam them up with War Boss, because they're likely going to take out their cheap removal, like Moment of Craving, and bring in stuff like Duress, which is not very useful against one of those early goblins. Alright. 4 lands and a girl in a bubble. We like these hands a lot. I feel like our win percentage in games where we cast a turn 4 and step Chemistry's Insight have to be extremely high. I don't think they're taking the Opt. I think they'll take either the Essence Scatter or the Syncopate. Wow, they took the Opt. I think they kind of next leveled themselves a little bit there. Alright. This is the most likely target. Let's expansion it back. Get a peek at their hand. Syncopate and Eldest Reborn. And Dream Eater. Eldest Reborn is pretty scary. Syncopate is something we can play around. If we know about it. Okay. This is a good top deck by us. I wonder if they'll be tempted to blow their Syncopate on this Chemistry's Insight. I think we're happy to let them do that. Okay. So this card has to be exactly counterspell for us to get super punished here. Honestly, we've ripped like a champion this game. They know about the Essence Scatter. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're gonna do the recap now. Alright, so 5 wins. Good for us. Oh, Angrath. That's actually kind of a good one. Because I am kind of interested in... I think this card can make a comeback once Rakdos cards hit next set. Another Ral. Okay. Alright, so overall a really good run. I wish we had played against a little more red-white in general this week. I think that this deck is probably favored-ish against it. I think the one time we played against, like... We played against it, we lost to that, off-the-top reinforcements. But my overall assessment of Jeskai has been... I think both builds are okay. I think my preference is for Waffle's build because of the Opt. I like that both of them are omitting entirely the Settle the Wreckage. There's honestly not really a matchup where it would have been good. And I don't know, even in games where we were playing as Carnage Tyrant, I think we beat almost every Carnage Tyrant deck. Star of Extinction out of the sideboard seems just as good, if not better, than Settle anyways. Sweeping up the Planeswalkers is really nice with it, although we didn't have that happen. I think we learned a lot about sideboarding with decks like this. I'm still a little unsure. And now that I've played all these games, I'd be interested in looking for some articles that people might have written post-Pro Tour about playing Jeskai. A little unsure about what the proper sideboarding is against green-black. It felt right to take out the Drakes and the Visits and bring in negates and stuff and just dead their Chupacabras. Like, I like that game one, they're going to see these, and they're going to want to keep in their Chupacabras. They're going to want to maybe keep in Cast Down if they're main decking that, like some lists of the Pro Tour did. And then you just get to take them out and give them a lot of bad draws, which is really the only way to punish that deck. And, yeah, once you stick it to Fairy, whereas we did in one game, we just went late and double Explosion to them. I mean, seems like we handled those decks pretty well. Like, we beat a Vraska Emblem in this series, which is really awesome. I've found out from reading some stuff or talking to some people in Discord that Legion War Boss is a card you're supposed to bring in against Drakes, which I don't think we did, but that makes sense. Or not against Drakes, and I think against Mono Blue. So we should have brought this in against Mono Blue, the one loss we had this series. That felt tough. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure that there's much that we can do to make that matchup better. I think you just have to hope that your draw lines up well against theirs, and that deck is built in such a way that if they have it all, they're just going to have it. Like, if they just have every Spell Pierce and Dive Down, I don't think it matters entirely much how you sideboard. I do think we misplayed a little bit there in retrospect, like game one against Mono Blue. If we had not Essence Scattered their second one drop, we would have had an Essence Scatter for their Djinn, or maybe they would not have played the Djinn, and then we would have just been facing down 2 damage a turn. So I think we kind of jumped the gun on that a little bit and got too scared of the fact that, like, they would be able to protect a resolved Djinn and not thinking enough about keeping them from resolving a Djinn, or delaying them from resolving it, because making them play mindfully around our stuff. And then I think game 2 we just got run over. But overall, I've enjoyed the deck. It does seem fairly well positioned right now. Obviously the games are slower than average, except, with the exception of the one we just played where our opponent just scooped to Teferi activation both games. So that does happen, but some of them are going to be long grinds. But if you enjoy playing this type of deck, and you don't, you're not trying to finish an event in an hour and grind gold, certainly go for it. It's pretty adaptable, as you can see. I've seen sideboard plans that play no creatures in the sideboard. That's just like all spells. I've seen sideboard plans, or I've people speculating on sideboard plans at least, that are like almost all creatures, or damage, and then you just sideboard out like a ton of your control stuff, and you completely switch into almost a Jeskai Angels type of deck. So there's a lot of ways you can go with it, and we're only going to get better probably in the next set with Hallowed Fountain and what comes from Azorius. I have to imagine that there's going to be either some kind of Wrath effect in Azorius, some kind of new Seal Away / Oblivion Ring type effect, or some kind of new counterspell type effect. That might be very good. The one thing this deck is severely lacking, and really could use to shore up some of the aggressive matchups, is a way to gain life. Deafening Clarion does that to a degree with the inclusion of Crackling Drake and Niv Mizzet. We may have pulled that off. It's been, I don't know, I've just played so many games I can't remember if we've ever actually pulled that off. But this is not reliable life gain, and you've seen, like, from the other list, the Wilson Mock list, like, that they're playing 2 Revitalize, which is really not a card, right? I mean, within the context of a 75 card deck list, it's a card, but it's not a card. It's not accomplishing much. And Opt, I think, does a lot more. And honestly, Opt is still not a card. Like, Opt, I feel like, could be on the cutting block. I could see this deck transforming into no Opt, no Crackling Drake, and no Niv Mizzet, and just going back to a pure 4 Teferi control list once Hallowed Fountain comes out, which either might be straight up blue-white, or blue-white red, or blue-white black. I expect some combination like that to be the dominant control deck. It's just going to depend on if Azorius or the Black-White Guild or Rezav gets the better control tools. But either way, they're going to fit well with Teferi. So yeah, I think that's it. It's been a lot of Jeskai, and I know a lot of people have been enjoying it, but I'm sure that at this point what's going to be like 12 videos in, 13 videos in. The fatigue is setting in. So thanks for sticking with it. I hope you all learned. It would be great to hear in the comments what you thought of the series. Would you like to see more, like a lot of games in a row? We kind of did this with Green Black, though we were not really focusing on gameplay. Like, we were just focusing on beating up best of one opponents and just showing that the deck was good to grind with. So maybe we could do something like this with blue-red Drakes, or we could do something like this with an aggressive deck. You know, I'm open to suggestions as always in the comments. Let me know what you'd be interested in. I'm also fine just going back to playing some more events and switching up decks more frequently. So yeah, if you enjoyed, let me know. Post a comment. Remember to subscribe if you have not and you have been enjoying this series and this channel, and put a like on the video if you want to be friendly. And yeah, we're going to call this one here, and we'll be back again soon with whatever we're going to play next, which will not be Jeskai.